We very much believe that sustainability and profitability have to go hand in hand for it to not be a greenwashing endeavor and for it to actually stick. So we use all of our available data and resources to help separate the stream out as much as possible to increase diversion while also reducing costs.
Welcome to the Environmental Transformation Podcast, where we bring you interviews with industry leaders, climate champions, sustainability practitioners, EHS and hazmat professionals making an impact in their businesses today. Each leader solving complex challenges and delivering solutions within their areas of expertise. I'm your host, Sean Grady, and thanks for joining us today. Before we jump in, make sure to follow us on your devices and visit my website at www.seankgrady.com and sign up for our newsletter and email announcements. Now let's get started. Welcome to the Environmental Transformation Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Grady, and today's guest is Joe DiNardi-Mack. He is the co-founder and CEO of Sourgum, a technology-driven waste and recycling company transforming an outdated waste industry. Under his leadership, Sourgum has grown into a national provider, serving thousands of businesses with streamlined, cost-effective waste solutions. Joe comes from a family with over a century of experience. He's a fourth-generation businessman here in the business in waste recycling and brings a rare combination of deep industry expertise and a tech-forward perspective. Prior to founding Sourgum, he operated both collection companies and waste disposal facilities, and he's a founding full stack software engineer at a prop tech startup. So Joe, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate you having me on.
Your one of your posts a while back caught me, piqued my interest, is what I'd say. And I've got a little background in waste management software, and I thought, you know what? I want to learn more about what Joe's doing and what his company's up to, because it's pretty exciting. So here we are. Let's talk, if we could, a little bit about your origin story here, Joe. You are a fourth generation waste and recycling entrepreneur. And, what made you decide to take this family legacy and reinvent it with a tech-driven company like Sourgum?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm fourth generation. Great-grandfather started back in 1897, actually, with the horse and buggy.
Okay. You're totally old school there.
Oh, yeah. And, since then, our family's been in the space, owning and operating various collection companies, disposal facilities, really affording me the opportunity to work every position in the industry, from the back of a truck to office duties to managing MRFs myself. And I wanted to take a bit of hiatus from the industry, see what else was out there. So I went to work at a prop tech startup, and that's what really opened my eyes, saw the ability to bring software and technology into a legacy industry. It was after my time there that I realized just how outdated this industry I've known my entire life actually was, and wanted to kind of bring it into the modern age to improve the experience for both customers who need to get rid of their waste and recycling, as well as the haulers operating in the space themselves.
So when you took that little hiatus, is that when you really started to invest in like your programming and technology skills? Is that what you focused on when you did that?
Yeah. So actually, when I joined this, prop tech startup, it wasn't even for engineering. It was for more of an operations role. And then, how startups go, you start picking up different hats, and I started picking up that full stack engineering myself. And that's what really made me realize how powerful technology is.
Were you always tech savvy as a kid growing up? You strike me as one of the digital natives growing up, so you kind of had it always in your blood, I'm assuming.
More than you even know. So my father actually started a software company way back, actually designing custom-built systems for different waste and collection companies himself. So I've always had the mix of my mother's side in the actual operating part of the industry, the collection companies, the disposal facilities, and my father, bringing that technology in very early on for custom solutions to them.
Oh, that's great. So you're taking this time off. Now you're basically thinking about, you're seeing the problems in the industry. When you look at the waste industry, what stood out to you as broken or outdated, and how did that spark your idea for Sourgum?
Yeah, so it was a few things. The industry itself still was running on pen and paper for the large part, a lot of carbon copy on disposal tickets actually going in and out of facilities. Routing was primarily done by hand still, and not really using software to kind of improve the different stops along the way, as well as there's just a real lack of infrastructure across the entire country. You can recycle as much as you want in some parts of the US, but it's just going to end up in a landfill because the infrastructure doesn't exist in those rural parts. And a large part of that is because there's a lack of data. People are really hesitant to go build a brand new facility in certain parts of the US because they don't know how much material they'll actually get in the door to make sure it's actually cost effective and justifiable to build it.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that right there. I mean, disconnected, not accessible, facilities. When you think about your product, tell me a little bit about how you vision or see this kind of supporting the circular economy.
Yeah, absolutely. So not only are we creating software to help improve the actual operations of different collection companies and improve the experience for those getting rid of their different debris, but we're also ensuring that we're building data across the entire infrastructure, whether that's AI image recognition, self-reported origin information of the people actually disposing of the material themselves. We are pretty much trying to build the operating system for the waste and recycling industry to the point where we're collecting enough data to then work with both public and private entities to give them the confidence they need to know what facilities to build to divert the majority of waste that's in their streams and of what size it needs to be to make sure it's an actual profitable endeavor.
Oh, that's great. I mean, so there had to been a moment where you had this aha moment, like, oh my gosh, this is like what we need. What was that specific moment where you thought we can do this better with technology? And that became the catalyst for launching the company.
I wouldn't say it was one moment necessarily. It was my entire life growing up in the industry, knowing how we operated, seeing all the problems, and then maybe multiple aha moments as time went on, working at that PropTech startup, going, oh my God, why are we entering these tickets manually when we can use AI to read them? Why are we writing this 3 times in 3 different systems when we can have it all connected and synced together? So it was just uncovering the power of technology along the way and uncovering all the problems and headaches within the industry as well.
So you were living, breathing the challenges every day and recognizing there's got to be a better way. And it was probably just gnawing at you all the time. And you're just constantly thinking about, man, I got to figure out a better way to do this. And it wasn't like you mentioned, it was all these little aha moments, but it was not like the one big one. But so I totally understand that. That's a good summary. So for the listeners, who haven't really maybe visited your website, know much about what you guys do, talk a little bit about like, how does this service work? Explain in simple terms to, the Sourgum platform and, what makes booking, waste, and recycling services easier.
Of course. So for those who need to get rid of different waste and recycling debris, we've created an Uber or Amazon-like platform for them where they can either go online and completely check out themselves. They don't have to interact with anyone. It's a, modern e-commerce-like experience. They can also work with one of our waste specialists as well to help optimize their setup, especially for more enterprise-grade clients. From there, we're really trying to make it on autopilot. Every customer, no matter their size, gets access to a free online portal for all procurement management. However, we really measure how often they don't go into it. If you're going into the portal and doing things, that means we're not really doing our job because it should be on autopilot. It should be the last thing on their mind. And it's all made possible because on the supply side, where you have over 5,000 partnered haulers across the US, mostly small local haulers who have great pricing, great service, but really, just lack some of that business development to really get discovered. And we're also equipping them with our proprietary technology to better run their business, as well as kind of integrate into our network so that we're taking all these 5,000 haulers and almost having them run as one single fleet. And that's where all the magic happens, where, we're improving their routes. We're using cameras on the trucks to analyze the streams coming out. Everything we're doing is on the supply side, the heavy lifting to make that demand side experience just as seamless and as, automated as possible.
Well, let's dive into that a little bit because that's quite interesting. Supporting local haulers. Waste is such a local business. How does Sourgum help small independent haulers compete and thrive with this new technology model? I mean, are you vetting these vendors? You mentioned cameras on trucks. I mean, are these access or tools that you're providing, or are they buying them and then they link in? I mean, talk a little bit about your process here of connecting your service providers to this infrastructure to make it this Amazon, Uber ordering process.
So we give our partner haulers technology. They don't have to bring in outside packages. We give them the full stack themselves. So they only have one turnkey solution that they need. We'll also give them free cameras to put on their service vehicles, and that's what helps us get more data about what's actually going on the ground. And then that software helps them just improve all aspects of their business, routing and dispatching, time clock management, even billing and charging their customers they received on their own outside of the Sourgum network. And then as they use the technology, we get some benefits on our side where we know where the next Sourgum order falls into a schedule to provide real-time ETAs. We're seeing the material actually coming out of the cans so we can analyze that to make improvements in diversion efforts, taking cardboard out of waste streams, for example. And then we're opening up larger opportunities for them as well. We focus more on enterprise-grade clients. So think people with multiple locations across multiple states who want Sourgum because it's a single point of procurement, it's online, it's modern, it's easy. And now we're giving these opportunities to all these small local haulers who can work on the few locations that are within their area.
I got it. So if you're a small service provider and you want to improve your business operations, basically you can sign up to be a Sourgum, supporter, or a vendor, and then you can even just book your own projects through Sourgum to deliver the service and essentially kind of use you guys as the broker waste hauling business for them. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's accurate. So, the way we built the technology is it's not cornered into just the Sourgum work. It's designed for all their work. They're billing directly, not using Sourgum at all. This way, they're, really modernizing their entire operations, because the better they run their operations in total, the better experience we provide to our customers.
Gotcha. Well, that's pretty interesting. I like this. This is a interesting new, I guess, tech forward focus on the service. So many of the waste companies, it's all regionalized, right? I mean, it's local. Do you have challenges with providing consistent containers, and service pickups with some of these haulers? And if you do encounter that, well, what do you do to kind of adjust and kind of solve those problems?
So because they're running on our technology, we do have the ability to measure their service level agreements against what we need our SLAs to be. So that's kind of how we keep our vendors, in line with what our customers expect. We show them obviously reports and dashboards of how they're performing, what they have to do to kind of improve to stay within the network and stay receiving jobs from Sourgum. And then it is obviously very local and regional. So we don't really have too many issues on the SLA side with the haulers, but every time we go into a new market, it's like that chicken and egg problem all over again. We leaned on experience from Uber and Airbnb and other tech forward marketplaces to figure out how to build that supply side network while also building the demand needed to get that supply into the network.
Right. No, this is good. I mean, there was the time when I was doing software development and overseeing a product, and we had a similar kind of recycling platform where we would companies to put up what they had for like a recycling market. Hey, I've got 5,000 pounds of this type of material, anybody want to bid on that? So it was kind of like an eBay for waste recycling products, and really enjoyed it. But it was really hard to scale. The former company I was with just really unfortunately wasn't prepared to be a software company. They were more of a consulting company. So they just didn't see the value and the vision that we were, in the trenches, us in the trenches who saw it. And so it didn't go where we was hoping it would go. But I'm glad to see, somebody like yourself and your company doing this, because I think there's a huge value in it. I mean, people want it simple. They want to hit the easy button, right? They want to go and just get on their phone and make it streamlined and simple and painless and straightforward and reliable. And that sounds like what you're doing. And when you're trying to focus on scaling this nationwide, I'm sure you've expanded rapidly across the states and metro areas, but what's been the biggest challenge in scaling the business that traditionally has been so regional and operational?
Yeah, that biggest challenge is just every new market. It's that rinse and repeat method of having to go find the supply, find the demand, solve that chicken and the egg every single time. Not only that, I grew up predominantly on the East Coast for waste and recycling operations. So every time we've entered a new region, there's nuances and differences that I'm having to learn on the fly about how they operate in the waste and recycling industry, whether that's using tandem trailers and now doing like 2 deliveries at once, which is something we're not accustomed to on this side, using more dump trailers instead of the larger containers, just all these small operational nuances that if you're not very attuned to the industry and willing to continuously learn, it's always going to provide a new headache and a potential scaling challenge.
So what does the sales force look like for you guys? I mean, and talk a little bit about the specific waste types you're wanting to service and focus on.
Yeah, so sales are split up into 2 ways. We either have an inbound motion where people discover us, as well as an outbound motion focused more on enterprise level clients. Waste streams, though, we'll handle everything up to radioactive, essentially. So no matter what you're looking to dispose of, our goal is to help you do it in the most sustainable and profitable way possible. We very much believe that sustainability and profitability have to go hand in hand for it to not be a greenwashing endeavor and for it to actually stick. So we use all of our available data and resources to help separate the stream out as much as possible to increase diversion while also reducing costs.
Are you helping clients manage hazardous waste?
Yes. So for like medical waste and things like that, oil drums as well.
Yep. So solvent waste, all that kind of stuff, listed hazardous waste, characteristic hazardous waste, all those waste streams. Is your software integrating with eManifest, with EPA?
Yeah, so we work with our partnered haulers as well to ensure that everything is up to code and spec, and we work with them primarily on the hazardous side to make sure that we are in full compliance and building out continuous integrations for every new material stream we get.
And so when you talk about those types of services, is it kind of like a total waste management service program, or is it really just the use of the actual, technology tool?
So for getting rid of the hazardous waste, it's more of the use of the technology tool. And so we kind of build it out even further to kind of encompass all of the other aspects. We're really relying more on the partnered haulers at that scale on the hazardous side to handle it in the most sustainable manner possible.
Okay. I gotcha. So is the software, is it a licensed type software, or is it really just the use of it through purchasing a service directly, like a pickup or a disposal pickup type thing? Is it really based on that approach, or is it an independent software that people can use to track their waste and enter waste volumes and things like that?
So on the demand side, it's in tandem with the actual service. So they have to be using the Sourgum service to actually get rid of their waste and recycling debris, to have access to the platform and all the data, because we need to have our partnered haulers actually as the ones performing the service, so we can get the information from the field coming out of it.
Very good.
And then on the partnered hauler side, they can be in network, out of network. Anyone on the supply side can really use the software.
So how many, operationally, where are you within the U.S.? Are you primarily East Coast, West Coast, or where are you expanding your business, across the nation?
So we're currently operating in all 50 states, within at least 1 or 2 major metros in each state. Heavy focus on the eastern half of the U.S. currently in terms of full state coverage. By the end of this year, though, we'll be in all rural parts of the western half of the U.S. as well.
I was reading somewhere that you just made a big move to go into the Louisville metro area. Tell me about that little project or that effort.
Yeah, absolutely. So for that, we're already doing some work in that area, predominantly like open top dumpster rentals for construction projects. We saw the opportunity to then move into that from a geographical standpoint, going from the east to the west, to go more into the reoccurring waste collection service as well. So for opening a new market like that, it's pretty straightforward. We have those partnered haulers who are already performing that open top dumpster rental for us. They also do the reoccurring waste service. So now it's more of a demand side motion to get clients on using the software to then open up more opportunities to the haulers we already know are vetted and online in that area.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the waste disposal aspect of this. I mean, are you negotiating big contracts with the big landfill firms out there to, secure the, good pricing?
Actually, no. When we first enter a new market, it's only working with the collectors. We're using their current tonnage and rates. And then once we're in a market for about 6 to 8 months, we'll start talking to disposal facilities directly to aggregate that all in. We just need about that 6 to 8 months of data to really
figure out
negotiation power.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. All right. That's interesting. That's good to know. I think one of the things I noticed on your website, there's this sustainability promise. And I love the fact that you say you plant a tree for every order. Talk a little bit about why that is important to you to build sustainability into your business, from the very beginning.
Yeah. So part of it is, my experience in the industry, seeing how broken the system is in terms of improper recycling, where it's ranging from customers not knowing what to put in a bin because it really changes from region to region, to, again, just that lack of infrastructure throughout the U.S. It's really something, when I started the company, we wanted to change that. So we have a vision of achieving zero waste within the waste and recycling industry. Sounds a little paradoxical. Sounds like we're putting ourselves out of business, but at the end of the day, we're just trying to change it from going into landfills to more like recycling and upcycling facilities. And again, part of our belief here is sustainability and profitability have to go hand in hand. So in the beginning, we wanted to kind of obsess over the unit economics of it, ensure that as we were building this company, that we had that vision in mind throughout every step of the way. And then the Plant to Tree program is actually to offset the carbon emissions from the service vehicles until those are really like carbon neutral service vehicles.
Hello, ET Nation. I want to thank you for listening to the podcast. If you're enjoying the interviews we bring you, consider supporting the program by visiting my website at SeanKGrady.com and buy me a cup of coffee. Proceeds will go towards helping me continue producing timely content and offset production costs. I'd also like to take a moment and recognize a few of our sponsors of the show who have been amazing partners and are ET Nation legends. If you're looking for a drilling and environmental contracting firm to help you delineate the extent of contamination at your site, then look no further than Cascade Environmental. Cascade has over 37 offices across the country and offers a huge range of environmental and geotechnical drilling, site characterization, and remediation services. With their huge fleet of equipment and nationwide coverage, Cascade is a great choice to support your environmental and infrastructure needs. To learn more, check out their website at cascade-env.com. That's cascade-env.com. Hey, are you looking for an equipment rental company to help you with your next wastewater remediation or waste management project? E-Tank is the only environmental equipment rental company in the industry that offers 100% guaranteed, certified clean temporary liquid storage tanks at no additional cost. This protocol gives peace of mind for the previous customer by limiting their downstream liability, as well as the future customer by preventing any cross-contamination for all of their rental tanks. E-Tank also runs a one-of-a-kind complete maintenance program for all rental items, including liquid-tight roll-off containers, fluid transfer pumps, and filtration items. The next time you are presented with an environmental challenge, call E-Tank to come up with the solution for your problem. I want to thank one of our sponsors, WasteLink. WasteLink is the all-in-one software platform transforming how environmental professionals manage waste, connecting generators, service providers, and disposal facilities in a way that is simple, connected, and transparent. Their platform helps streamline everything from waste profiling and routing to inventory management and billing, giving you the tools you need to operate more efficiently and reduce cost. Whether you're a generator looking for better options or a service provider seeking greater efficiency, WasteLink has you covered. If you're ready to take control of your waste management processes and optimize your business, visit wasteLink.com to schedule a demo today. You talk about the service vehicles. Are there things you're doing with your service providers to, I guess, encourage, either battery operated transport, CNG transport, or is it just basically, hey, we know that we're gonna have a hit on emissions because we have to get the waste somewhere. So this is part of the pledge.
So it's really part of the pledge right now. We do have financing opportunities for all of our partnered haulers to take advantage of. It's just the current state of the industry is electric vehicles for, garbage trucks work great in like very tight metro areas.
Mm-hmm.
But once you start going to other parts of the U.S. where they have to travel greater distances, most haulers don't want to adopt them because of the amount of charging time and the amount of extra work has to be involved in it. So for those haulers, we help them by improving the efficiency of their routes, to also help cut down carbon emissions and reduce fuel costs as well.
What type of partnerships are you developing with recycling firms that are actually doing the sorting and the repurposing of these types of products that you're managing through Sourgum? I'm just curious of what that looks like on your side.
So right now, those partnerships look like getting them more tonnage in the door and then helping them clean up the streams that come in, because we can actually see the material from every location when it gets dumped into the truck,
mm-hmm.
the contamination levels, and help that customer improve their stream so it's a cleaner stream. And then working with our collecting partners and disposal facility partners, we're getting cleaner material in greater volume to these facilities. And then later down the road, we'll also start integrating our software into the facilities themselves.
Seems like a good opportunity to help provide, more data and waste volumes into that type of a business model. And do you ever envision yourselves managing and operating recycling facilities through this business model that you have? I don't think you own any facilities now, right? You just have software.
Just have software. We'll stay as a software company, but tie in and create greater and greater partnerships with the facilities or those who want to build facilities. Because again, we can provide them with the data needed to kind of improve those operations, ensure they're building facilities of the appropriate size for every given region as well.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Okay. I know managing a startup has got to be challenging. And a lot of times you're on shoestring budgets and you're always wondering, where is the next dollar coming from to help us get to where we got to be or where we want to go, where our roadmap's leading us. When you talk about funding and growth of Sourgum, you recently closed a $12.5 million Series A fund, which is fantastic. I'm sure you guys were like, yes, this is great. How does that funding change the game for Sourgum's growth and product roadmap?
Okay, so that funding allows us to really triple down on our investments in our technology stacks, improving the software for our partnered haulers, outfitting more and more with cameras, increasing more of our AI and automation throughout that stack, all in the name of kind of 10xing the customer experience and increasing landfill diversions. So kind of unlike your previous company, we're just doubling down on the actual technology because that's a bet we're willing to take to really transform this industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you need that investment. That's great to hear. I think it's always comforting to know you've got a little funding background and support from investors. Talk a little bit too, if you could, Joe. What does your development team look like? I mean, is it U.S. based? Is it how many developers do you have? What's this look like for you on the back end?
Yep. So we're currently at a 12-person engineering team and growing, all U.S. based. In fact, all in our office in Jersey City, New Jersey as well. Because of how nuanced this industry is, we really wanted to make sure that they were experiencing it, hearing the operating pains of other people on the front lines. really kind of embracing the entire industry.
I think that's great. Having your tech team right there, you can walk down the hall and say, "Hey, this is what's going on. I need to solve this problem. Can you help me figure out a solution to do this?" That is so powerful, and I think it's important because it really helps scale the speed of scaling and fixing problems in a product that's key.
Oh yeah, there's nothing like someone running in with their hair on fire saying we need to fix this.
It's not working. Fix it now. Someone's trying to order. Oh yeah, no, I got it, man. That's great. That's good. Well, the future of waste tech. I mean, if we fast forward 10 years from now, how do you see technology transforming the waste and recycling industry, and what role do you see Sourgum playing in the future?
So we see Sourgum kind of being that operating system beneath the entire industry to help it run in a very systemized manner. So, right now the US is very fragmented. The way different regions operate are drastically different sometimes from one another, even on the types of material they'll accept into the same type of recycling facility. We see data really being the main driver across this entire industry. Real-time information coming out of what's getting generated on sites to sending the proper collection company to actually pick it up, to then integrating into the disposal facilities and all the way down to the mill. There should be data across the entire chain so that we can clean up the material streams as much as possible and increase diversion rates as much as possible, all in the name of also profitability to save people money.
So in 10 years, you think that you'd like to see Sourgum be that main platform driver with all that data or across the country. That's exciting. That's ambitious. Best of luck on that. I hope that works out because that's really interesting. I like that concept. And you know what? You need goals like that because I think that's where, entrepreneurs are growing their business. And, talk a little bit, if you could, about the challenges of starting your company. When did you started this company? What, in 2020, 2019? What was the start of this firm?
Yeah. So we started Sourgum in 2022.
2022. Okay. So
yeah,
you're 3 years in.
Yeah. But prior to that, my co-founder is actually my cousin. We had a small physical company, running roll-off trucks and front-end trucks. In 2019, we started with the name of wanting to bring technology into the space. We were just experimenting with different business models essentially along the way. A lot of trial and error to see what would work, what wouldn't work. And then in about late 2021, we landed on what Sourgum is today as a business model. And that's when we pivoted, sold off all the assets, raised that first round of funding.
Well, talk a little bit about that process of raising your first round of funding. What was that like for you guys?
The first round was difficult. Essentially we had a moonshot vision. We were two young kids from the waste and recycling industry, not really a lot of experience from, the technology sector, let alone, venture-backed companies. So it was a lot to get someone to take that first risk on us. But, luckily it's kind of that snowball effect. Once you get the first one in, it starts getting easier and easier every subsequent one, so long as, you're proving that the model actually works along the way.
Well, what's been the advisory support you've been receiving from these investment companies?
Oh yeah, our investors and our partners have been phenomenal. A huge resource, really, providing us expertise in how to actually scale a technology and software company, not just a physical operating company, which is what our background's been in. Everything from what types of positions we need to hire, to how to think about market health, to opening doors to some larger clients. They've been just a wealth of resources.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. That's fantastic. I mean, yeah, you need a group of people to help you with that. Now, I'm assuming you guys got a small board of directors or a board that helps you grow this. What's that look like for you guys?
Yeah, it's a nice lean board, 3 formal board members, and then 3 additional advisors. So it's been great to just have people around the room who we can really lean on.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Well, when you talk about leadership and these lessons that you're learning along the way, as a founder in such a traditional industry, what has surprised you the most in this journey, in this short 3 years of growing this product? What advice would you give other entrepreneurs trying to modernize an old school business?
Yeah, so what's really surprised me is I thought I knew every part of this industry like the back of my hand, but it was really only the Northeast I knew. So entering every new region, it was a continuous learning experience on how to kind of adapt and change for them. Anyone who's really starting to start a business in these legacy industries, my advice would be really, you got to learn it. You got to experience it. You got to live it. There's only so much you can do from reading or secondhand experience. And you got to remember, you're walking into an industry that's existed for a long time. There's been people operating in it. You have to have a certain amount of appreciation for those who've kind of forged the path already, and have to really be able to speak their language and understand their pains and what they've been through if you want to really help them and improve the industry overall.
Yeah, right. No, absolutely. I mean, when it comes to leadership, who are you relying on? Who are you leaning into to help you, kind of gain this inside knowledge of certain things? I mean, your fourth generation, is it your family? Is it other, connected industry leaders? Talk a little bit about what you're doing and, trying to pick the brain of some other leaders to help you grow.
Yeah. So as we've been growing, I've been kind of expanding that network, started relying heavily on my family at the onset on how to, really build and scale a company. Again, Northeast focus, that got us so far. And then as we brought in our investors, not only have they been great, but they've also been opening doors to other executives who have been through this path 3 times over, have startups, have run and scaled businesses. They've been kind of opening the doors to speak to people who have already forged ahead in different industries.
That's great. So are you guys getting requests from a lot of other interested firms that are like, hey, we need your product? What's been the response of the industry so far with Sourgum and your platform?
Yeah. So the first 2 years was definitely a lot of us knocking on doors, going out ourselves. But recently, in the last 8 months, our inbound funnels have really kind of increased. Now that the word's gotten out a bit, a lot more people are interested in our product and services and coming to us.
Are you promoting, I guess at conferences, trade shows? How are you getting the message out aside from just, the traditional, maybe typical social media and or your website?
Been going to a lot of trade shows and conferences in the last 8 months as well. Now that we've secured this Series A round of funding, it's a lot more about getting the word out, going across the country, being in person, really talking to people.
That's great. That's fantastic. Well, I really appreciate all the good stuff that you're doing, and I appreciate the time you're spending with me today and our listeners. We call it the ET Nation here. They listen a lot. They call in. They're responding. This is a waste and recycling is a central part of the industry. It's it's not just the maybe PFAS or some other topic that we cover, but waste and recycling is huge. Digital technology and innovation is a very interesting component of the industry, and I'm glad to see you guys leaning in on it. Appreciate all the work you're doing, Joe. What's the best way for a listener who doesn't know much about Sourgum to connect with you guys, learn more about you, and even maybe connect personally with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Best way to connect is, hello@sourgum.com if you want to reach out. Also visit us at sourgum.com. And, I'm happy to, speak to anyone who's, looking to run a startup themselves and kind of pay forward what others have kind of taught me.
Oh, that's fantastic, Joe. Well, Joe, best of luck with the business and as you're growing it and scaling, and congratulations on your current success. 3 years and what you've done and accomplished already is fantastic. It's amazing, and really enjoy your journey so far. So thanks for coming on the show, and we'll keep in touch over the course of the next several months, I'm sure, and see where your guys are going.
Sounds great, Sean. I really appreciate you having me on today.
You bet. It's a great product. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for listening and watching the show. If you enjoyed the show, then please share it with your friends and coworkers on social media and tell somebody in person. Thanks for being with us, ET Nation.